Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back for some more EVE Online and welcome back also to JITA, the largest trade hub in EVE Online. This is TQ, this is not the test server. And for the start of this video, I should probably mention that we got a new patch with the new module. So if we press NUL, if we look for nullification, then you can see that we now have a compact interdiction nullifier, an interdiction nullifier I, interdiction nullifier II, and a restrained version as well. And so this has changed from when it was first announced and brought onto CC. If I'm not mistaken, it is now a high slot, and the ships that can use it has been changed substantially, including there's still some problems there. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, everything hasn't been changed at the time of recording on this restrained version, where the stealth bombers can still use them. So now you get the crazy stealth bombers that could be immune to bubbles. That is not the plan, but my previous video was also late because of that. Well, I sort of have a schedule that I try to stick to, that I feel is basically doable for me, 2 videos a week for EVE Online during the week. That's what I try to stick to, and let's be honest, I don't think any of us has ever seen a CCP patch move that fast. I've just went back to the website. It's been less than a week since the announcement. It's not even been a full week since the announcement. So that one was on the 12th, where the 18th it went to CC. A little bit of feedback, some changes, and then it's been brought to TQ at least a week before I thought we would see this stuff on the live server. Honestly, I was expecting we would see a mass test, so that we would have a chance to get together with like 50, 80 people, all of them having this interdiction nullifier and other stuff fit, see how it all interacts when you get 50 people activating the module at the same time around a single bubble, how all of that works. Honestly, hopefully everyone has done all of that testing, but this really feels like it's been rushed out a little bit. We'll just say it how I feel like it is. This feels like it was rushed out. Now, does that mean there is a need to panic? I don't really think so. My first reflex on that, and I actually also saw that immediately posted in one of the threads on Reddit about this, is that they're on a schedule because I believe that there's gonna be much bigger stuff on the horizon that's in the cooker as well, and so this had to be done so that that foundation was laid for the next parts, for the next bigger changes that CCP is planning. I think that's my read on this situation. This wasn't done for any reason other than this needs to be out there so that we're ready for our next steps, rather than all right, let's just push it out because we don't care or anything like that. I don't get that feeling personally, but this does mean that my previous video was completely outdated. There were changes done on the test server, and before I even had the chance to go and take a look at them there, they came on TQ like basically on the same day as I released the video. So it's interesting. We'll see how everything interacts, and I myself will now have to look at how I want to fit some ships, because for the nullification, honestly, a cloak plus a nullifier would make a lot more sense, for instance, in this brawler, if that is possible. Let's take a quick look back at the module actually and see if the brawler is on the list. I believe it is. So we get the ship equipment. Let's see if we can get a tick 2 on that. And then industrials, and do we see my Wreathe? It's on there, so we could do that. I think that's how I'm going to change once prices become a little bit more reasonable. Right now, 37 million. I do expect that to potentially come back down a little bit. Are there any requirements for that? Apparently I can use it. That's going to be my plan, right? Put up a cloak, put up a nullification here, maybe even one of the low slots to also have the warp core stabilizer, and that could become the change to the Wreath due to that impact. But I'll give it a little bit of time. For now, I'm active in high sec anyways, and hopefully the prices come down a little bit so that it's doable and doesn't cost too much. That's part one. Bit of a surprise at how quickly this has been deployed on the live server, but it's here, and we will of course keep an eye on that and try to incorporate it into our existing ships, especially my transport ships. I do think I'll try to change as many of them as possible to being that combination cloak with the new nullification module. Next up, a little bit of an update on what I've actually been doing, and it's also the reason why I'm here in the Prowler in GTA itself. Let's take a look at what I'm carrying with me. So this is of course what I've been doing, and you guys already know that. I've been mining a lot, compressing that in my structure quick check. I actually haven't done that yet. All right, we're not at war, so that's good news. I can keep going. And all of this stuff is currently being brought into the trade hubs, mostly GTA, a little bit in Dodixie as well, and here we're basically just putting all of that together, and you can see we now have like 1 billion at current value in ores, minerals. Mostly it's the compressed stuff really, and we're just gonna wait for a slightly better time. I think demand should pick back up, and then we should get a better price as well. And I've also been looking into maybe building some smaller stuff, you know, to try and get that feeling again, if it's gonna be worth it for me to maybe consider putting up a writer or something like that for my own production. And what I've found is that these have actually been pretty good. So if I go to industry, and then can I just right click and press view industry on that one. At least yesterday it was 5 million input for 25 job runs. Let's bring that down to a single one. So then we get an input of 200,000 ISK and the output worth 900,000 ISK. So these should actually be pretty good for me to try to sell. Let's bring that into my sell container where I've got some more stuff that I still need to get rid of as well. Yeah, that's what I've actually been doing here, and it's been an interesting journey going through a lot of my blueprints, seeing if there's stuff that I want to make that I can make with a positive margin basically. And that's when I came across this, which was actually going to be the main topic for this video. Let's see if I can find a couple of frigates, because this is kind of crazy how low these prices are. So let's take that Atron blueprint. This is stuff that you also get for like the login rewards and things like that. So as a newer player, I can imagine that. All right, let's try to maybe build that first Atron, maybe for myself, maybe for the market, see what industry is all about. At least after this change, this part is pretty easy, right? Titanium, pyrite, and Mexalon. Mineable in high sec, and then a little bit of isogen, you know, risk a quick trip in low sec or buy it from the market. It's not that big of a problem, but the input cost at the moment is estimated at 820,000 ISK and the output value at 580,000 ISK. This is really nothing, and there's even worse ones as well. Here is the Merlin, for instance, 737,000 input cost, output cost 420 and 52,000 ISK. That is crazy low. Take a quick look at the purifier here as well. 737 to 915. A first one that is positive. All right, I'm going to actually take this one and put it in my Wreathe. This is what I've been doing, basically going through some of these BPCs and looking for stuff that's positive. But here again, look at this, we've got 820,000 input cost, estimated value of the output cost 600,000 ISK, and this is actually so small, you could say, and simple that should be decently correct, and this does feel completely crazy. So if we then take the next step, we're gonna take a look at that Tech 1 frigate market to try and take a look at what's happening here. So for that, we are talking about the standard frigates, of course, and let's try to go over these charts a little bit. So the Crucifier is actually doing somewhat okay, but at 600,000 ISK, this feels like it's maybe doable in like a fully bonused production facility or something like that, right? This is probably just from in an NPC station, so that's still doable, but it still feels kind of low. I can maybe even check that if we go for this one, view in industry. Estimated cost 600,000, estimated value 600,000 as well, even a little bit lower than that. So, you know, as a newer player, are you going to get a nice margin on that? I really don't think so. We've got the Executioner that is going for, at the moment, yeah, selling for what, 590,000 ISK. I really don't think that there's any chance that we're positive on this one either. We're talking, look at that, 820k in minerals, and then the value is estimated at 500,000, and these sellers, I mean, that's 590. So this is actually my question to to the chat on this. This is such a big difference, right? Like what, 250,000 ISK? That's almost like a 30% difference or something like that between what it costs at the moment in minerals and the sell prices that people are putting these ships up at the market for. Are people selling at a loss? That's really my question. My instinct says that, yeah, that has to be the answer here. People have to be just so desperate to get rid of these executioners that they're selling at a loss at the moment, because even if you have a fully rigged structure, I don't think you can do that much better than maybe a 10% reduction in input costs or something like that. You still have some fees and everything like that to do. So this feels very, very strange how some of these are so low in price. You know, it is also below 600,000. The Magnate, that could be a little bit better. Let's take a quick look at that, because of course these exploration frigates do tend to be destroyed a little bit more. So let's take a quick look at industry on this one. Input cost is 900,000, estimated value 729,000 is. That's a difference of like almost 200k, maybe 15 to 20%. It still feels like way too much, even in the very best structure. I don't see how this can be a profitable sell price for the Magnate at the moment. And this is after minerals have come down in price as well. So here's the Punisher, right? All right, 1 million to 1.5 million. That feels kind of reasonable. And then look at that, since mid-April, that massive decline. And at the moment, we're back at really low price point, 620,000 ISK for these sellers. I do think that this one still looked somewhat positive in industry, but let's take a quick look at that one here again. Yeah, 737 output. Estimated value is still at 900,000 ISK, but that's only because we just come down from a very big spike. So I'm actually gonna just remove these again, put them back in the BPCs, because this is very, very bad. And yeah, this is what I don't understand fully at the moment, and I would love to see your guys' input on this. Is this because in nullsec with the very best combination, and I mean you can definitely build a lot of these frigates very quickly, is then a Merlin with a sell price of 300,000 ISK, is that doable, or are we selling at a loss at the moment, considering that if we do view in industry here, the input cost is put at 800,000 ISK. This is less than this is more than double the price of what they're being sold for in JITA at the moment. Crazy stuff, and in my opinion, not very enticing for newer players that would go into want to go into industry. These are the types of blueprints that you receive for free from CCP, and then you put that in industry and you get these numbers that are just completely bonkers, don't make any sense at all. So yeah, that's the question for this video, and something that I would love to know myself. Current Tech 1 frigate prices, are people selling at a loss and just desperate to get rid of them, or is it indeed possible to get the production cost of a Merlin, for instance, down to the 300,000 ISK region? I don't know. So as an alternative, you guys saw what I've brought to the market. It was some of these BPCs that drop from data and relic sites, and I think the reactive armors are a part of that as well. Input cost is 700k, estimated value 1.4 million ISK. That's pretty nice. We're definitely moving those over for some production. I think some of the bigger ships do better as well. 84 million for the Drake, 94 million. So if I want to go a little bit bigger, this is actually for now a slightly positive margin as well. And then stuff that I'll maybe look into later. I do think that stuff like these augmented drones, right, that's not bad, 2.8 million to a 6.4 million. But I need to look a little bit more into how maybe I can get those materials myself and things like that. Kind of want to go the solo route a little bit and explore industry once again. And then some other stuff. Do I still have some ammo? So this is also something I think you get from CCP, 44k to 81k. All right, so small modules may be all right as well, 68 to 1.5 million. All right, I'll take those two, and we'll try to put those in the oven as well. All those frigates we just saw, that's absolutely terrible. And unfortunately, I don't have any munition BPCs. I had a couple, and those were still pretty positive as well. So that is something to look into. But it's just completely mind-boggling. I think a lot of these destroyers are in a pretty bad spot as well. Yeah, look at that, 1.6 million estimated input cost, 1.5 million estimated value on the output cost. Here's a Corax blueprint, 1.8 to 2.3. Could be all right. Let's do a view market details on that one. Yeah, 1.3 million for the sellers. It's basically the same question here. How do you get to that number with the 1.8 starting costs, granted without any real bonuses? But I think that that's just too much. You can't shave off 500,000 disc on a price like this, I think, to get to 1.3 million production, let alone with a positive margin. So this is really, I thought I was going to go into the small ships and see, you know, that's like the normal progression that CCP has built in for the new industry system, where you can mine for 3 out of the 4 of these minerals. You can build that yourself and then, you know, just get started with industry. But at the moment, it just looks like it is completely crazy to do so. You're just better off selling the ore. Let the compressed ore is an even bigger margin. You're just producing all of these at a loss at the moment, so that doesn't make much sense. What I have found that does work is small modules, munitions, and some of the bigger ships. Those do still seem to have some positive margins on them, and that's what I'm going to focus on a little bit. Let's actually take a look at my market orders and see if anything has happened here. Yeah, so I've been trying to buy that, and to my surprise, with a small amount, right, just trying to buy 13,000 Hydrine. That hasn't fully triggered yet, but I bought some Megasite as well. I bought some Noxium. There are sellers apparently that are impatient enough to sell to the buy orders. It's never going to be in massive quantities, but I am basically able to get some slightly cheaper minerals for all of the other stuff. And that's what I've been doing just to get the ball rolling. But I'm also looking at maybe making like a venture with the new modules and trying to do a little bit of ninja mining in low sec if there's any relatively safe options available close to Yona. All of that is still in the works. But yeah, that's going to be it, I think, for this video. So first of all, the new patch is there. The new modules are here. There's probably still some tweaking that CCP needs to do. And I do apologize for my video basically being out of date by the time that it was released, but yeah, never seen CCP move like that, faster than its own shadow, I would say. And then second thing, right, I'm trying to get into a little bit of small scale industry stuff that would be accessible for newer and solo players. And man, what is happening with the Tech 1 frigates and those Tech 1 destroyers? Are people really selling at a loss? I myself am a little bit lost and am not sure what to make of what's happening. Your feedback would be more than welcome. That's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.